Mr. President, my home county of St. Clair in Illinois lost a dedicated public servant this week. Mearl Justus, aptly named Justus, passed away Tuesday at the age of 81. He had retired only 1 week earlier after serving 8 terms as St. Clair County Sheriff. I want to tell you, Mearl Justus was a legend. He was funny, he was innovative, he was a creative thinker who was always looking for new and better ways to run his department. Above all, he was deeply dedicated to the people he served in St. Clair County. An editorial in the Belleville News-Democrat described him as a 6-foot-2-inch teddy bear with a sailor's vocabulary and a hero's heart. He was gruff, he was endearing, he was a champion. He rescued us from the bad guys for 60 years. What an epitaph. Sheriff Justus got off to a rocky start in life. He was just 19 months old when his dad died. He was raised by his grandparents, dropped out of high school in 1953 when the mayor of Cahokia, Illinois, suggested he join the local police force. That's how the aptly named Mr. Justus began his nearly 60-year-long career in law enforcement. He started as a part-time officer in Cahokia. He earned his GED and went on to earn an associate's degree at Southwestern Illinois College in Belleville, and then earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He advanced quickly up the ranks, served as Cahokia's police chief for 22 years. He ran for sheriff of St. Clair County in 1983 and won his first run for elective office, I might add. He would be reelected 7 times, never losing an election, and nobody came close. Sheriff Justus loved his job, and he loved having fun. One of the most legendary tales of his years as sheriff was when he sent notices to several hundred fugitives from justice, telling them they'd want a free pair of sneakers from the fictional neighbor shoe store. When the scofflaws turned up to claim their sneakers, the sheriff's department locked them up. The department made over 50 arrests that day and won the next, despite the fact that the prior day's arrests had been widely reported in the news. He closed up the shop with a sign that read, "Closed, catch you next time." He once explained to a reporter, quote, "In this business, to keep from going off the deep end, you need that humor." Mearl Justus didn't drink or smoke or rarely carried a gun because he said it was bulky and it tears my clothes up. He sold advertising space on patrol cars and put public service announcements on their fenders. He provided jailmates with a garden to grow vegetables. The prisoners grew their produce and gave any extra to local nursing homes. Sheriff Justus was dedicated to his work, so dedicated that he and his wife Audrey lived for years in a 3-bedroom apartment above the county jail. He said he figured that's where he was needed. At first, the couple found the routine cell checks a little disturbing, but they grew fond of their living arrangement and even raised a granddaughter in their apartment. Over the course of his 6 decades of public service, Mearl Justus established several programs for local schools, including stranger danger awareness training. He also introduced the DARE program into St. Clair County schools long before others had it. Sheriff Justus' success and dedication was widely admired by his peers who elected him president of the Illinois Sheriff's Association. He was also chairman of the board of his region's major case squad. In recent years, Sheriff Justus led efforts to combat crime and vandalism on Metrolink trains, the county's light rail transit system, making the system safer for those who depend on it. That's where I came to know him. You see, this Metrolink is a light rail train service that's been one of the most popular things that's happened in that region. I grew up in that region. I used to kid my friends from St. Louis that I grew up in a suburb known as East St. Louis, and they all laughed because nobody considers Illinois to be part of St. Louis. Well, it turned out that that station in East St. Louis for Metrolink was a critical part of the political agreement that led to the creation of this important light rail system. But we had a problem. East St. Louis has been notoriously dangerous for years. And there was a question, how in the world can we expect anybody to wait at the train station with all the dangerous street crime in East St. Louis? Mearl Justus stepped up. His St. Clair County Sheriff's Department provided the protection that was needed to establish that Metrolink station in my hometown of East St. Louis and to give people the peace of mind that if they wanted to board or leave a train, park their car there, there would always be reliable law enforcement. Mearl Justus showed the way for many of us when we couldn't think of how to resolve this quandary. That's the kind of problem solver he was. Mearl Justus had an amazing sense of humor. For many years, his own website featured the sheriff wearing a sombrero in a boast that any local event featuring Mearl Justus as the master of ceremonies would draw twice as many people. He cared deeply about people. He hosted Slumber in the Slammer fundraisers for a women's crisis center, allowing people to sleep in jail in exchange for a donation to the local crisis center. He once arranged a cataract surgery for a woman whose savings had been stolen. He said he looked forward to coming to work every day and wanted people to think of him as an honest, people-oriented public official. He's going to be remembered for that and so much more. Mearl Justus made St. Clair County not just a safer place, but a better place. I'm honored to have known him. He was a fun person to be around, but you knew when it came to his job, he took it very, very seriously. My wife Loretta and I send our condolences to his wife Audrey, his daughters Kay and Deborah, his 3 granddaughters, and his 3 great-grandchildren.